Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Anaya Putri. I'm from class 3A, and in this video, I want to talk about online learning versus traditional learning as a final test for academic speaking class. So, I'm gonna start with the online learning. So as you know, online learning is known as education that takes place over the internet, often referred to as e-learning or distance learning. Online learning involves the umbrella term for any learning that takes place across distance and not in a traditional classroom. So we don't need to go into a classroom to attend online learning. We can basically join in online learning in our room, in our house, with our laptop and our iPhone. So this online learning has, of course, has the advantages and the disadvantages. Um, the first one is I want to talk about the advantages of our learning. The first one is the expense. Of course, if we attend an online learning, the expense that we cost is less than the offline learning. And it's perhaps the greatest perk of online learning because it's the low cost. That's because room and board, parking, food, and attendance fees are not necessary. Well, you get the same benefits and level of knowledge as you would from traditional classroom. Enrolling in an online program means you do not have to commute to class every day or even leave a different state to attend classes. By eliminating travel or living expenses, you automatically save a lot of money on food, books, or school supplies. The second one is time saving. As we know, the learning is pretty simple. And this is kind of a given considering the lack of commute. By simply turning on your computer and joining an online class, you save yourself the time it would take to get ready and go to class physically. This learning methodology, the online learning, comes along with convenience, greater flexibility, and greater accessibility. Lessons can be completed around your schedule without leaving home or having to relocate depending on the rain, snow, or sunshine. So you can basically just turn on your laptop in your room or your cell phone on your home to attend the online class. And the next one is using technology. So attending online classes means you get to use technology more, thus automatically becoming more tech-savvy. Class nowadays use the LMS, or we can know it as a learning management system, such as Moodle, Blackboard, Zoom meetings, or similar software as a replacement for traditional classes. Assignments are also submitted online, and discussions are in a forum format, and emailing professors is very fun. So it is very practical, very convenient, and are also suitable for our Gen Z, the Gen Z, you know. But however, this online learning also has these advantages, and again, really affecting us as the user of, an online learning. The first one is the isolation. Though it might be great for more reserved students, online classes can create a feeling of isolation for those who thrive by physically interacting with their peers. So not everyone can interact in an online meeting because they are not really feel the tensions. And the next one is lack of discipline. Remote learning or online learning can be counterproductive for students who lack of self-discipline and require constant guidance from their teachers or peers. So not all students can gain the discipline with the online learning because the deadline is very long or it's not really strict. Uh, you know, what is it? Um, it's less strict than the traditional learning. So yeah, it's not really building our disciplines as a student. The next one is required training for instructors. For an online class to go smoothly and carry out its purpose, the professor or the teacher needs to be trained in how to use the technology required to teach. In addition, instructors need to discover ways to get the best out of their students without them being physically present or physically offended in front of their face. And the next one is technical difficulties. Last but not least, in online learning, there are most scenarios when something might go wrong due to technical problems such as the loss of audio, video, or even overall connectivity. So it very depends on the internet connection. The next one is the traditional learning, or we can also call it as a brick and mortar education. What is actually brick and mortar education? I think you can understand the context of brick and mortar education by its own name. So brick and mortar is the traditional way to attend class or college for students coming to the classroom or to the campus and attending class in physical classrooms. So you meet the lecturer or the teacher uh, right in front of them, right in front of their face. You meet and get in contact with them physically. So I'm gonna also talk about the advantages and disadvantages of the traditional learning course. The first one is the advantages. Um, in traditional learning, we can increase the interaction. It goes without saying that professors or the teachers can get more interaction from their students if they are physically present in the classroom as opposed to remote learning. Brick-and-mortar colleges or classes allow students to interact with one another and discuss with teachers face-to-face. Probably, this is what keeps this form of traditional learning still so much in demand, as students can communicate with others or ask questions personally to their lecturer or to their teacher. They feel more responsible regarding their exams towards every deadline that comes their way and commit to regular attending. The next is hands-on learning. Traditional learning gives students a sense of security and control over their learning because they are present in the class, so they feel the tensions to study. The next one is experience in campus or school life. A big part of traditional learning is being able to interact with all the students on school or campus. While this is possible online, traditional classes certainly offer more opportunities. In traditional class, traditional learning, we don't feel like boring because if in online learning we just stay at our home, at our room, so it's so boring, right? But in traditional learning, we can go outside, we can meet another people physically, and it's a fun thing. So, and last but not least, the networking. So, more interaction with other students means you will be able to create a wider network that will help you in the future when you enter the workforce. So if we gain more friends in the traditional learning, we can get the bigger network than the online learning. But uh, not really different from the online learning. Traditional learning also has the advantages. The first one is expensive. Enrolling in a traditional program means you will have to spend more on commute or location, food, supplies, or etc. Because if we attend traditional class, of course we need to buy books, we need to buy school supplies, we need to pay for our transportation. So it costs more than the online learning. And the next is more flexibility. Unfortunately, if you are also working while studying, in-person classes offer virtually no flexibility in regards to attending classes, especially for college students. If the schedule of lecturers does not comply with their part-time job, it makes their attendance on the class impossible. The next one is time-consuming. Having to physically attend classes will take more of your time than online classes. This includes getting ready and possibly commuting to class. So, in conclusion, we would love to call a winner, but we cannot. It wouldn't be fair to either of the learning methods because both have their advantages as disadvantages. Which learning method is right for you depends on many factors. The first one is what's your budget? So if you really care about your budget spending, you may want to pursue online learning, the online classes. But if you don't really care about your spending, you have many, you are used to expense more than you need to maybe you prefer to join the offline learning or the traditional learning. And the next is what's the learning topic? Is it practical based on knowledge driven? If it's practical based, of course, the traditional learning might be suitable for this topic, but if it's knowledge driven, then the online classes or the online learning it's also possible for you. So it depends on yourself. I think that's all the topic that I want to deliver. So thanks for listening and watching. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.